campus golden boy started a vicious rumor about me. He claimed he saw me sneaking out of the men's dormitory. In the middle of the night, my dress wrinkled like a discarded tissue. I was furious enough to call the police on the spot. But suddenly lines of glowing text floated across my vision. Do not clarify, whatever you do. Do not explain yourself. If she defends herself, the male lead walks away spotless. And the female side character takes the fall and gets expelled. I let out a cold laugh.
Fine.
They want to play games. The very next day, when the entire campus was buzzing with the rumor that I was sleeping with the student body president, I stood in front of a crowd and nodded. Yeah, I admit it. I am pregnant, and the baby might be his.
Hello. 911.
I suspect I was drugged, and I have about 300 witnesses right here. I was cornered at the entrance of the dining hall, still holding the $5 combo meal. I had just bought tooth and nail for General Tso's chicken and roasted eggplant. There were only 3 pieces of chicken, but I was already incredibly satisfied. The cafeteria lady had been unusually generous today, scooping extra sauce onto my rice, like she had just cured her arthritis. I was just about to find a quiet corner to devour my food. A plastic cup of boba tea slammed into the ground. Right next to my sneakers, the sticky brown liquid splattered all over the leg of my jeans. I looked up. The golden boy of the finance department, the student body president, the guy every girl on campus referred to as a god, Jace. He was standing right in front of me. A whole entourage trailed behind him, guys and girls. Most conspicuous, one was a girl wearing a pristine white dress, her eyes red and puffy, looking like the entire world had just bullied her. Her name was Lily. She was the undisputed sweetheart of our major. She was beautiful, had a sweet voice, came from money, and got straight A's. She tripped and fell. Someone would probably write a poetic, aesthetic post about her fragile vulnerability. Jay stared at me, his face completely frozen. Riley, how much longer are you going to keep up this act? I stared at him in confusion. I looked down at my chicken and rice. Then I looked at the sticky boba dripping down my jeans. Better give me a very logical explanation. Otherwise, either you or this cup of boba is going straight through that wall today. The crowd around us instantly fell dead silent. Jace furrowed his brows, his tone dropping to sub-zero. You really do not know what you did. A girl with a sharp bob haircut standing next to him immediately chimed in. Riley, you are such a good actor. The whole school knows you. We were caught sneaking out of the men's dorm building last night, looking completely disheveled. And the dorm supervisor caught you red-handed. Another guy sneered. Word is she came straight out of Jace's room.
Tisk.
She always acts so high and mighty, but behind closed doors she is wild. My brain buzzed with static. Disheveled. The men's dorm. Jace's room. I was at the library last night, rushing a group project until 1 in the morning. When I finally dragged myself back to my room, I even sent a voice memo to my dorm group chat. If anyone ever tells me college is easy again, I am going to staple this syllabus to their forehead. My 3 roommates had all replied, with a synchronized wall of laughing emojis. A laugh bubbled up in my throat out of pure anger.
Who said that?
The girl with the bob rolled her eyes. Are you trying to pick a fight? Everyone saw it. I locked eyes with Jace. Did you see it too? Jace's eyes flickered away. He stayed silent. Lily gently tugged at his sleeve, her voice soft and trembling. Let it go, Jace. Please do not make a scene. Riley She probably has her own difficulties. I shifted my gaze to her. What did you just call me? Lily shrank back under my stare, her eyes growing even redder. Riley, I just wanted to help you. Please do not look at me like that.
You are scaring me.
The people around her immediately rushed to her defense. Do not be scared, Lily. She is just guilty.
Exactly.
She did the crime but cannot face the time. She is always like this. Thinks she can just hook up with whoever she wants, just because she has a pretty face. I gripped my plastic food container tightly.
Great.
My food could get cold, but I was not going to cool down. I was just about to open my mouth when a line of glowing golden text drifted across my line of sight. Here it comes. The iconic scene. The vicious side character gets publicly judged by the whole school. I froze. A split second later, the floating text flooded my vision like a broken dam.
Run.
Riley explaining. Won't do anything. Do not clarify. Whatever you do not explain yourself. If she defends herself, Lily is going to cry. Jace is going to protect her. And then everyone will just think Riley is making excuses. In the original plot, this is exactly when she breaks down and curses at Lily. Someone records it, edits the video, and after 3 days of cyberbullying, she jumps off a building. I was speechless. I looked down at my combo meal. Then I looked at Jace and finally at Lily. Jump off a building. Who?
Me?
My name is Riley. I am 18 years old, a freshman pre-law student. And my ultimate goal in life is to land a secure state job and collect a fat pension until I am 100 years old. And I am supposed to jump off a building for these absolute lunatics? They think they're worth it. Seeing my silence, Jace assumed I was feeling guilty. His tone softened just a fraction. Riley, as long as you apologize to Lily right here in front of everyone, I can make this whole thing go away. I was even more baffled. Now, why on earth would I apologize to her? The girl with the bob flared up. Stop playing dumb. You know Lily likes Jace. And you still went to his room in the middle of the night. I looked straight at Jace. Do you like her? The tips of Jace's ears turned slightly red. And he subconsciously glanced at Lily. Lily lowered her head, her long eyelashes fluttering delicately. The floating text went wild. The main couple is so sweet. The way Jace looks at Lily is everything. Get Riley out of here. Stop blocking the romance. Stop hating on her. Riley is actually innocent. She never even went to the dorms. My eyes turned to ice. So no one actually has any proof, right? The crowd choked on their words. Jace frowned. The dorm supervisor saw you. Which dorm supervisor? Mrs. Higgins from Alpha Hall. What time? midnight. And exactly how disheveled was I, Riley? Jace's voice dropped into a warning growl. Do you really have to make the sound so vulgar? I smiled. You guys had no problem being vulgar when you were spreading rumors about my sex life. Lily spoke up, her voice dripping with gentle concern. Riley, everyone is just worried you are going down the wrong path. As a girl, you really need to have some self-respect. I almost crushed my plastic food container. Self-respect. To save money. I only ever ordered the cheapest dollar drinks from the campus cafe. My daily routine was a strict triangle between the library, the dining hall, and my dorm. My reputation was cleaner than a freshly wiped whiteboard. And she was telling me to have self-respect. Text floated by again. Do not act reckless. Do not yell at her. Lily has the protagonist halo. If you insult her once, the whole school will hate you for a decade. Hold it in.
Please.
Do not clarify. Listen to the chat, girl. I am begging you. I took a deep studying breath. Fine. I won't clarify. I shoved my combo meal into the hands of a random student, standing next to me. Hold this for a second.
Do not eat it.
I counted. There are exactly 3 pieces of chicken. The student took it looking completely bewildered. I pulled out my phone, opened the camera, and pointed it right at Jace. All right, let's get this on the record. You are saying I came out of your room last night. Jace's face darkened. I did not say that. That is what everyone is saying. Who is everyone? Nobody made a sound. I nodded slowly. Let me rephrase the question then. If I truly walked out of your room at midnight, looking completely disheveled, what exactly is our relationship? The entire crowd inhaled sharply. Jace snapped, Riley. I stared him down, enunciating every single word. Answer the question. Did I climb into your bed willingly, or did you force me? The entrance to the dining hall exploded into chaos. Oh, my God. Can she even say that out loud? She has completely lost her mind. Lily's face drained of color. She frantically tugged on Jace's arm. Jay, explain it to them. Jace's face was livid. Riley, stop twisting the narrative. I smiled. How am I twisting anything? Didn't all of you just accuse me of walking out of his room, looking disheveled? A female student, leaving a male dormitory in the middle of the night, with messed up clothes. There has to be a legal definition for that, right? I held my phone higher, projecting my voice so the back row could hear. If I was willing, you call me a slut with no self-respect. If I was not willing, it is a felony. Mr. President, pick a lane. The veins on Jace's forehead were practically throbbing. Lily's eyes filled with pristine tears. Riley, how could you do this? Jace is a victim here, too. You are just dragging him down with you. I turned my lens to her. Then who is not a victim here?
Me.
Daniela. The girl with the bob lunged forward trying to snatch my phone. Stop recording. You are violating our privacy. I dodged backwards smoothly. We are in a public space. When you were crowding around me spreading rumors about my body, you didn't care much about privacy. Now you want to give me a lecture on civil rights? The floating text cheered. Ha ha ha, she is so bold. Oh no. The plot is broken. The original text said she was supposed to cry and beg. Here. Do not explain. Just keep going feral. Entering her villain era. We love to see it. I scoffed internally. Going feral? This is just the warm-up for a defamation lawsuit. Before long, an academic advisor was called to the scene. Our advisor's name was Liam Sinclair. He was 27, finishing his PhD, and possessed the exact aesthetic of a morally gray villain in a dark academia novel. He wore silver-rimmed glasses, and his dress shirts were always buttoned rigidly to the very top. On the first day of orientation, he had told our class, if you have a problem, come find me. If you do not have a problem, pretend I do not exist. I am very busy. The entire class had been stunned into silence. But he was incredibly efficient. Scholarships, financial aid, excused absences, he processed them instantly without ever making us jump through hoops. I actually had a pretty decent impression of him. At the very least, he was miles better than the circus currently standing in front of me. By the time Professor Sinclair arrived, the kind student holding my food was starting to look like his arms were falling asleep. And Claire scanned the crowd, his sharp gaze landing directly on the brown stain on my jeans. Who did that? The crowd went dead silent. I pointed directly at Daniela.
She did.
Daniela panicked. It was an accident. Sinclair's voice was flat. Apologize and pay for the dry cleaning. Daniela's face flushed bright red. Why should I? We are talking about Riley sneaking into the men's dorm. Sinclair looked at her coldly. Are those two things mutually exclusive? You ruined her property, so you apologize and pay up. As for whether she went into the dorm, I will check the security footage. I practically wanted to give him a standing ovation. Even the floating text seemed stunned. What is up with this advisor in the original plot? Didn't he just sweep this under the rug? Must be the butterfly effect. Professor Sinclair is so handsome. Finally, a teacher with actual common sense. Feeling suffocated, Daniela turned to me. Sorry, I did not blink.
Cannot hear you.
She gritted her teeth. I am sorry. Pay up. How much? I glanced down at my leg. The jeans were $45. If the stain does not come out, you are buying me a new pair. Boba was $5. And based on the splatter, it looks like a half-sugar light ice pearl milk tea. I will calculate the emotional damage later. Daniela looked like she was about to burst into tears from pure anger. You are robbing me. My face was stone. Did you offer a discount when you were robbing me of my reputation? Sinclair let out a faint, quickly suppressed cough, and he turned his attention to Jace. You are claiming Riley left your room last night? Jace stayed quiet for a few agonizing seconds. I didn't see it with my own eyes. Sinclair pressed on.
Who did?
Group exchanged nervous glances. Finally, a guy in the back raised his hand hesitantly. I heard it from Carter. Carter immediately waved his hands defensively. I just heard it from the guys in Alpha Hall. Someone from the Alpha Hall group chimed in. It was the dorm supervisor. She is the one who said it. Sinclair pulled out his phone and made a call right there on speaker. Mrs. Higgins, last night at midnight. Did you catch a female student leaving Alpha Hall? The speakerphone crackled, the static buzzing sharply in the tense silence of the dining hall. Liam? Is that you? Mrs. Higgins' raspy voice echoed through the speaker.
Why?
Are you calling me about this now? I'm in the middle of counting the inventory for the hall's laundry detergent. Liam Sinclair didn't blink. He adjusted his glasses with one finger, his tone as cool and structured as a legal brief. Mrs. Higgins, I have a crowd of about 50 students currently disrupting the dining hall entrance over an incident, allegedly involving a female student leaving Alpha Hall last night. Several students claim you caught Riley Vance red-handed. Who? Mrs. Higgins let out a loud, wet cough. Riley Vance? The quiet girl who always asks for extra study room keys? No, I didn't see her. I told those boys from the finance department I didn't see her face. The crowd shifted. Jace's posture went rigid, his jaw tightening so hard the muscle leaped. What exactly did you see, Mrs. Higgins? Sinclair pressed, his eyes shifting slowly toward Jace. I saw a girl in a dark hoodie running down the fire escape at the east wing. Mrs. Higgins grumbled, sounding thoroughly annoyed. It was dark and I didn't have my reading glasses on. 10 minutes later, Carter and a few of Jace's friends came down to the lobby. They asked me if I'd seen Riley sneaking out. I told them I saw someone and Carter said, yeah, that was definitely Riley. We saw her too. I just nodded because I wanted them to get out of my office so I could go back to sleep. Why? Is there a problem? No problem, Mrs. Higgins. Thank you for your time. I'll let you get back to your inventory. Sinclair tapped the screen to end the call. The silence in the dining hall was no longer dead, it was suffocating. The floating golden text in front of my eyes suddenly flickered, spinning rapidly like a malfunctioning slot machine. Wait, what? Mrs. Higgins didn't actually name Riley? The rumor was entirely Fabricated by Jace's friends? Oh my god. The plot is bending. But watch out. Riley. The male lead's pride is wounded. He's going to retaliate. I ignored the golden text and looked straight at Carter, the guy who had claimed earlier that he heard it from the guys in Alpha Hall. Carter was currently trying to shrink behind a vending machine. So, I said, my voice carrying clearly across the quiet room. Carter heard it from the guys heard it from Mrs. Higgins, and Mrs. Higgins heard it from Carter. It's a human centipede of slander, and every single one of you has been eating it up. Riley. Jace spoke up, his voice tight, his face pale but his eyes burning with a defensive fury. Even if there was a misunderstanding about who Mrs. Higgins saw, you don't have to be so hostile. If you hadn't been acting so suspiciously lately, no one would have jumped to conclusions. Suspiciously? I let out a dry, humorless laugh. I spend 14 hours a day in the library. The only thing suspicious about me is how I manage to survive on $5 combo meals and pure spite. What's actually suspicious is how eager you and your little fan club were to pin a midnight tryst on me without a single shred of proof. Lily, still clinging to Jace's sleeve, let out a tiny, trembling sob. Riley, Jace didn't mean any harm. He was just trying to protect the reputation of the department. Please don't be so mean to him. Protect the department? I turned my gaze to her, my expression utterly flat. By dragnetting my name through the mud? Lily, if your brain was any lighter, you'd float away. Stop trying to play the peacekeeper in a war your friends started. That's enough, Sinclair interrupted, his voice cutting through the rising murmurs. He looked at Daniela, the girl with the bob. Daniela, I believe you. Owe Miss Vance an apology for the boba and $45 for the dry cleaning. Daniela looked like she was being forced to swallow glass. She pulled out her phone, her fingers shaking as she transferred the money to my student account.
There.
Are you happy now? Delighted, I said, checking my phone as the notification popped up.
Now if.
You'll excuse me, my General Tao's chicken is getting cold. I turned to the bewildered student who was still holding my plastic container. He handed it back to me as if it were a fragile piece of ancient pottery. Thanks, I muttered, taking it back. As I walked past Jace, I paused. Next time you want to play the campus king, Jace, make sure your crown isn't made of cardboard. It doesn't hold up well in the rain. I walked out of the dining hall, leaving the whispers behind me. Sinclair followed a few paces behind, his leather briefcase swinging gently against his leg. Miss Vance, he said as we reached the courtyard. I stopped and turned. Yes, Professor Sinclair? You handled that efficiently, he said, the corner of his mouth twitching into the briefest hint of a smirk behind his silver-rimmed glasses.
Though I
suggest you refrain from using terms like human centipede in academic settings in the future. Noted, Professor. I'll stick to collaborative circle of defamation next time. Good. He tapped his briefcase. But don't let your guard down. Jace's father is Thomas Sterling. He sits on the university's board of trustees and practically funds the entire business school. Jace is not accustomed to losing face, and he certainly isn't accustomed to being publicly embarrassed by a freshman. I sighed, looking down at my ruined jeans. I just wanted to eat my rice and get my state pension, Professor. Why does every rich kid on this campus act like they're starring in a low-budget teen drama? Because to them, the world is a stage and they've already bought the rights to the script, Sinclair said, his voice dropping into that quiet, morally gray tone that made him look like he belonged in a Victorian conspiracy. But scripts can be rewritten. Have a good afternoon, Miss Vance. You too, Professor. I found a concrete bench near the library, sat down, and finally opened my container. The chicken was lukewarm, but the extra sauce the cafeteria lady had given me made up for it. I picked up a piece of eggplant and popped it into my mouth. As I chewed, the golden text drifted back into my line of sight. Warning. Warning. System anomaly detected. The original plot has been derailed by 14%. The male lead's hostility toward the host has reached level 3. Lily's fragile victim, Aura, is currently buffing Jace's protective instincts. They are plotting to retaliate. Riley, you need to apologize to Jace privately to smooth things over, or the school will find a way to expel you. I swallowed my food and stared at the floating words. Apologize? To Jace?
I
Whispered aloud. I'd rather eat this plastic fork. The text scrolled rapidly in response. No, you don't understand. Jace's family has massive influence. Tonight, Daniela. is going to post a heavily edited video of the confrontation in the dining hall. The caption will frame you as a violent, aggressive bully who extorted money from Daniela and harassed Lily. In the original timeline, this video is what triggers the mass cyberbullying. The administration will side with Jace's family to protect their donations. You will be expelled by Friday. I paused, my chopstick hovering over the last piece of chicken. A heavily edited video. Huh? They really didn't know when to quit. If they wanted to play dirty, they were about to find out that a pre-law student who had memorized the state penal code for fun was not the easy target they thought she was. Expelled by Friday? I muttered, a cold smile spreading across my face.
Let
them try. The next morning, the campus was practically vibrating with tension. I had barely stepped out of my dormitory when I noticed the stairs. People were whispering, pointing, and hastily hiding their screens when I walked past.
My
roommate, Chloe, texted me a link with 10 exclamation points. It was exactly as the golden text had predicted. A video titled Pre-Law Student Riley Vance Verbally Attacks and Extorts Classmates had been uploaded to the university's anonymous forum. The video was a masterpiece of selective editing. It cut out Mrs. Higgins' phone call entirely. Instead, it started with me aggressively demanding, answer the question, did I climb into your bed willingly, or did you force me? And ended with me forcing Daniela to transfer me $45 while she looked like she was about to cry. The comment section was a toxic waste dump. Wow, she sounds like a literal psychopath. Why is she talking about force? Extorting money over a spilled drink? And she's pre-law? Keep her away from the legal system. Poor Lily looked so terrified. Riley is a bully. I heard. She actually did sleep with Jace, and now she's blackmailing him because he rejected her. By noon, the rumor had mutated into a multi-headed beast. According to the latest campus gossip, I had not only slept with the student body president, but I was also trying to ruin his life because he wouldn't leave Lily for me. I walked toward the central plaza, my hands shoved deep into my pockets. The golden text floated frantically in front of me, flashing a bright, alarming
red.
It's happening. The dean's office has already received over 50 complaints from students demanding your expulsion. Jace's uncle, Dean Sterling, is preparing the paperwork. They're going to corner you at the administration building plaza in 10 minutes to hand you the suspension notice publicly. Riley, run. Go to the president's office. Or better yet, find Jace and beg him for mercy. Lily is sweet. She might convince Jace to let you off with a warning. Beg? I muttered under my breath, my eyes narrowing as I saw the crowd gathering near the entrance of the dining hall and the administration building. There they were. Jace was standing at the top of the stone steps, looking like a tragic, noble prince who had been deeply wronged. Lily was beside him, wrapped in an oversized knit sweater, looking small and fragile. Daniela and Carter were there too, surrounded by a group of student senators and a few members of the campus newspaper who were holding cameras. A crowd of at least 300 students had gathered around, buzzing with
excitement.
They loved a public execution, especially when the victim was someone who refused to bow to the campus elite. Riley Vance, Jace said, his voice amplified by a megaphone one of his Senate lackeys had provided. Please step forward. I stopped at the base of the steps. The crowd parted, forming a wide circle around me. Jace, I said, my voice calm, almost polite. I see you've brought an audience. Is this a student senate meeting, or are you just lonely? Jace's expression hardened. We're here because of your behavior yesterday. The video of you harassing Lily and extorting Daniela has gone viral. The student body does not feel safe with someone of your volatile nature on campus. As the student body president, and after consulting with the administration, I have been authorized to present you with this. He held up a white envelope. An official suspension notice, pending a formal disciplinary hearing. However, because Lily is incredibly generous, she has convinced me to offer you an alternative. Lily stepped forward, her voice trembling as she spoke into the microphone. Riley, we don't want to ruin your future. If you sign this written apology, admitting to the defamation, withdraw your false claims against Daniela, and agree to transfer to another department, Jace will ask the dean to drop the
suspension.
The crowd murmured in approval. Wow, Lily is so nice. Yeah, Riley should take the deal. She's lucky she's not getting sued. The golden text in my vision was screaming now, the letters practically vibrating. SIGNIT. Riley, please, this is your only way out. If you don't sign, the dean will expel you, and you'll never get that state pension. Your life will be over. I looked at the white envelope. Then I looked at Jace's smug, triumphant face, and Lily's sweet, venomous smile. They really thought they had me. They thought a scholarship kid from a working class background would crumble the moment they threatened her future. They thought they could use their wealth, their influence, and their edited videos to sweep me away like a piece of trash. I felt a cold, dark bubble of laughter rise in my chest. Fine. If they want to play games, let's play. I took a deep breath, my face suddenly dropping its calm demeanor. I let my shoulders slump. My eyes widened, filling with a sudden, brilliant sheen of unshed tears. I took a trembling step backward, looking around at the crowd as if I were a cornered animal. I can't, I stammered, my voice cracking slightly. Jace's smirk widened. Riley, don't make this harder than it has to be. Just admit what you did. No, I sobbed, a single, perfect tear escaping and rolling down my cheek.
I
Looked at the student newspaper camera, making sure they got a clear shot of my
face.
You want me to admit it?
Fine.
I'll admit it. The crowd went dead silent. Even Lily stopped sniffling, her eyes widening in
Surprise.
I admit it, I said, my voice echoing across the plaza. I was in your room.
Jace.
I was there. And I didn't want to say anything because I was terrified, but I can't keep this secret anymore. Jace's face froze. What are you talking about? I took a deep, shuddering breath, clutching my stomach. I am pregnant. And the baby might be yours, Jace. A collective, deafening gasp rippled through the 300 students. Several people literally dropped their phones. The campus newspaper reporter's camera
Shook.
Riley, Jace roared, his face turning an angry, violent shade of purple.
What?
The hell are you saying? We never. But that's not the worst part, I interrupted, my voice rising in a desperate, trembling panic as I pulled my phone out of my pocket. My fingers flew across the screen, tapping the dial pad. I set it to speakerphone. The distinct, sharp trill of an emergency dial tone filled the plaza. Ring, ring. Riley, hang up that phone, Jace yelled, lunging down the steps toward me. Stay back, I screamed, pulling a small metal pen from my pocket and pointing it at him like it was a weapon. He froze, startled by my sudden ferocity. Before anyone could move, a calm, professional voice blared from my phones.
Speaker.
911. What is the address of your emergency? Yes. I sobbed into the phone, my voice loud enough for the entire plaza to hear. I am at the Central Plaza of State University. I need to report a major
Crime.
I suspect I was drugged and sexually assaulted at an off-campus house party a few weeks ago. Ma'am, are you in a safe location right now? The operator asked, her tone instantly shifting into high alert. No, I am currently being cornered and coerced by my attacker, I cried, staring directly into Jace's horrified eyes. His name is Jace Sterling, the student body president. He and his family are currently using their administrative power to force me to sign a non-disclosure agreement disguised as an apology letter to cover up the assault. I just found out I am pregnant, and I am terrified for my
Life.
I have about 300 witnesses right here, and the entire interaction is being recorded by the campus press. We are dispatching units and an ambulance to your location immediately, ma'am. Do not hang up the phone. Can you describe what the suspect is wearing? He's wearing a blue finance department polo and khaki pants, I sobbed. Please, hurry. He's coming toward me. The plaza went from a smug, self-righteous tribunal to an absolute, chaotic circus in less than 3 seconds. Are you insane? Jace screamed, his voice cracking as he scrambled backward, away from me, as if I were covered in plague. I never touched you. We've never even been in the same room alone. You're lying. She's lying. Oh, I sniffled, wiping my eyes with the back of my hand, though my expression had suddenly turned entirely cold and analytical. I looked down at the phone. So you're admitting under oath in front of 300 witnesses that we have never slept together? And that I was never in your room? Jace paused, his brain desperately trying to process the legal trap he had just walked into. Yes, of course we never slept together. I don't even like you. Then why? I said, my voice dropping its trembling tone entirely, becoming sharp, clear, and utterly lethal. Did you and your friends spend the last 48 hours spreading rumors that I was sneaking out of your room in the middle of the night, disheveled and wrinkled? Why did you present me with a suspension notice based on a lie that you fabricated? Jace opened his mouth, but no sound came out. He looked at the crowd. He looked at the campus newspaper camera, which was still rolling. He looked at Lily, whose face was completely white, her hands shaking so violently she dropped her
Phone.
If I was in your room, it's a felony sexual assault because I was unconscious and have no memory of it, I said, taking a step toward him. If I wasn't in your room, then you, Daniela, and the rest of your Senate lackeys have committed massive, coordinated defamation and academic harassment to destroy my reputation and force me out of the school. I looked down at my phone, still connected to the 911 operator. Either way, Jace, the police are on their way. And since we're going to have a formal investigation, I'm sure the state authorities will be very interested in looking at the unedited security footage of Alpha Hall, your phone records, and the blood tests the hospital is about to run on me. The golden text in my vision had completely stopped flashing red. Instead, the golden letters were practically exploding with golden sparkles. Well, why shit. She trapped him. She actually trapped him. If Jace claims they slept together, he goes to jail for rape. If he claims they didn't, he admits the rumors were 100% fake and faces a massive defamation lawsuit. This is brilliant. The protagonist halo is cracking. Jace's face is literally the color of a bruised eggplant. Riley, Lily stammered, stepping back, her fragile act completely shattered.
You.
You can't do this. This is going to ruin Jace's future. His father can hire him the best defense attorneys in the state, I said.
Coldly.
But they can't stop a mandatory police investigation. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to wait for my ride. Within 5 minutes, the distant, wailing sirens of police cruisers and an ambulance echoed across the campus. The next 3 hours were a blur of flashing red and blue lights, sterile hospital corridors, and the smell of cheap antiseptic. Because I had reported a suspected drugging and assault, the local police department had to follow strict state protocols. I was taken to the university medical center, where a female officer took my statement while a nurse drew my
blood.
I didn't lie to the police. I was a pre-law student. I knew exactly how to phrase my statement to keep myself legally bulletproof. I woke up 2 days ago feeling disoriented. I told the officer, my voice calm and cooperative. Then, the entire campus began spreading rumors that I had been seen leaving Jace Sterling's dorm room in a disheveled state at midnight. Since I had no memory of being there, and Jace himself was publicly confirming the rumor by demanding my apology, I genuinely feared that I had been drugged and assaulted without my knowledge. That's why I called 911. I wanted a medical evaluation to ensure my safety. The officer, a seasoned detective named Miller, nodded sympathetically. You did the right thing, kid. If a group of students is claiming you were in a male dorm room while you have no memory of it, that's a serious red flag. We've already impounded the university's security servers to prevent any footage from being deleted. I hid a small smile. Perfect. By the time I was cleared and released from the hospital, with the blood tests, of course, showing zero traces of pregnancy or drugs, the story had already broken out of the campus bubble. A local news outlet had picked up the story. State University student body president under investigation for alleged sexual assault and coercion. When I arrived back at the academic advisor's office, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Professor Sinclair was sitting behind his desk, a stack of folders open in front of him. He was nursing a cup of black coffee, his silver-rimmed glasses catching the light of his desk lamp. Sit, Miss Vance, he said, gesturing to the chair opposite him. I sat down, pulling my jacket tighter around myself. Am I expelled, Professor? On what grounds? Sinclair asked, a faint, dry smile playing on his lips.
You
reported a suspected felony to the police based on public statements made by the student body president and his associates. If the university expels you now, it would be considered immediate, unlawful retaliation against a victim under Title 9. The dean's hands are tied. In fact, his hands are currently shaking so badly, he can barely hold his pen. He slid a document across the desk toward me. It was a formal notice of administrative leave for Jace Sterling. Jace has been suspended from his duties as student body president pending the outcome of the police investigation, Sinclair explained. And Daniela has been placed on academic probation for her role in creating and distributing the Edited video, which the university's IT department has officially flagged as a violation of the student code of conduct. The golden text in my vision flared up again, peaceful and warm. Plot progress, 85% rewritten. Lily's family is furious. They found out about the investigation and are demanding to know why her name is associated with a sexual assault scandal. Riley, you're a genius. The protagonist halo is completely shattered. They're turning on each other. There's more, Sinclair said, leaning back in his chair and crossing his legs. The police have already reviewed the security footage from Alpha Hall from 2 nights ago. Do you want to guess what they found? I'm pre-law, Professor. I prefer evidence over guesses. Sinclair chuckled, a low, smooth sound. The footage from the East Wing fire escape shows a female student leaving the building at exactly 12:35 a.m. She was wearing a dark hoodie, but when she reached the edge of the campus light, she pulled her hood down. He turned his laptop screen toward me and pressed play. On the screen, a girl with long, perfectly styled hair and a distinct, fragile gait was walking quickly away from the men's dorm. As she passed under a street lamp, she turned her head. It was Lily. She wasn't wearing her pristine white dress, I murmured, watching the video. She was wearing Jace's oversized black hoodie. Indeed, Sinclair said. It seems Miss Lily and Mr. Sterling have been engaging in a secret relationship for several months. However, Lily's family is deeply conservative. Her grandfather is the main benefactor of her trust fund, which is contingent on her maintaining a spotless, conservative reputation. If her family found out she was spending the night in a male dormitory, she would have been cut off instantly. So when Mrs. Higgins saw someone leaving, I realized Jace and Lily panicked. They knew the rumor would start, so they decided to find a scapegoat. Someone who had no family money, no influence, and no one to defend her. They chose you, Sinclair said, his eyes narrowing slightly behind his glasses. They figured a scholarship student from the pre-law department would be too intimidated by the Sterling family's influence to fight back. They expected you to cry, apologize, and quietly transfer out of the department, taking the fall for Lily's indiscretion. Too bad for them, I said, leaning back in my chair. I don't cry easily, especially not when my rice is on the line.
Yes.
I believe you've made that abundantly clear. Sinclair closed his laptop. The police have already called Jace and Lily in for questioning regarding the false reports and the conspiracy to defame you, since Jace has already admitted, on camera and on a recorded 911 line, that you were never in his room. His defense is non-existent. He will likely face academic suspension, community service, and a very public apology. He pulled a crisp, white envelope from his drawer and slid it toward me. What's this? I asked, looking at it suspiciously. Another suspension? A recommendation letter, Sinclair said. For the state attorney general's summer internship program. It's highly competitive, usually reserved for seniors. But I believe your recent practical application of legal strategy demonstrates a level of competence that far exceeds your peers. I stared at the letter, my heart skipping a beat. A state internship, the gold standard for landing a secure state job with a fat pension. Thank you, Professor, I said, my voice softer, genuine. Don't thank me yet, Sinclair said, standing up. You still have to pass the interview, and you still owe Daniela a bill for your jeans. Oh, don't worry, I smiled, standing up as well. I've already sent her the receipt for a brand new pair of designer denim. Emotional damages included. 3 days later, the campus had finally settled into a quiet, peaceful routine. The anonymous forum had been scrubbed of the edited video, replaced instead by an official, public apology from the Student Senate to Riley Vance. Daniela had paid the full amount for my dry cleaning, my new jeans, and a $20 gift card to the campus boba shop. Jay Sterling's face was no longer on the student government website. He had quietly taken a leave of absence, his family scrambling to settle the defamation claims before I could file a formal civil lawsuit. Lily had transferred to a private liberal arts college 3 states away, her spotless reputation permanently tarnished by the very scandal she had tried to avoid. I sat in the quietest corner of the dining hall, the afternoon sun streaming through the high windows. In front of me was a steaming, fresh combo meal. Today, the cafeteria lady had outdone herself. There were 5 massive, crispy pieces of General Tao's chicken and a double portion of roasted eggplant resting on a bed of perfectly seasoned rice. I picked up my plastic fork, ready to dig in. Just as I did, The golden text drifted into my vision one last time. Plot fully rewritten. Host survival rate 100%. The vicious side character has successfully claimed her peaceful, high-pension future. System shutting.
Down. Good luck, Riley.
Keep going, feral. The letters faded into tiny, sparkling gold dust, dissolving into the warm afternoon air until my vision was completely clear. I let out a soft, contented sigh. No more floating text. No more dramatic main characters. Just me, my pre-law books, and my 5-piece chicken combo. I took a bite of the crispy, sweet and sour chicken. It was, without a doubt, the best meal I had ever tasted.